We're live. Hi. We're in Alabama.
Still.
Yeah. So what day is it today? Today is
Oh, my computer. It's Wednesday.
Wednesday. So Irma is off just into a big bunch of rain clouds up in somewhere up north now. I think I'm probably dumping on my parents in St. Louis. And we're sitting here in Alabama trying to figure out what next because the Keys are still closed. We can't go back to our boat.
And we're 1,000 miles away. And two of the scenarios that we left Marathon with was number one, Hurricane Irma would just miss the Keys entirely and we'd have minimal to deal with. Or we got the full Cat 4-5 strike and why not would not have anything left. Those are the two likely scenarios.
Now we're kind of in this third position of we've why not is as best we can tell, well, we know is above water. We don't know the extent of the damage. We've got no surface level photos, but we've now gotten aerial photos, 2 different aerial photos. And so our boat's there, but we don't know how damaged it is. And we're also seeing the reports of it's of only 1 in 4 boats that were in the Marathon mooring field stayed on their mooring balls. Many sunk. Several boats just in our own little marina cove are sunk or in really bad shape. But we don't know what's going on with ours.
And so, number one, we're starting to deal with some survivor's guilt because as boating newbies, the odds that Why Not is still floating we're in disbelief of it. And then we now have logistics to deal with that. We've got our bus, we've got the getaway truck, and our Mini Cooper to contend with. We're 1,000 miles away. There's limited fuel, and we don't know the condition of Why Not to even know is she livable.
Yes.
Because that means we could park the bus up here
and go back with the truck.
If she's not livable, then we're going to appreciate having a self-contained, solar-powered
second house.
We're experienced boondockers. It'll be hot, but we know how to do that in the bus. Or is it worth it? Because there's going to be fuel considerations to get down there. Is it worth taking her down there? And if Why Not is livable, do we offer this to someone local that could use it as a temporary housing? I don't know. And then what supplies do we need to bring?
Right. So we've been trying just today. They're starting to get, I guess, more than just a trickle of communications that are coming out of Marathon. And we're hoping to find out, A, how's our boat? B, how are the people we've met down there doing, and what can we bring down to help? And when should we head down? We've been told, don't come down too soon because you'll just tax limited resources. But we have other people telling us get to your boat as soon as possible because the sooner you can get there, the sooner you can prevent ongoing damage and mold and rotting and stuff like that. So we've got these two push-pull of get there as soon as you possibly can versus take your time.
And that even, down in South Florida, there's massive backups of people trying to wait to get into the Keys. Marathon's not even open yet. And, much of Florida between here and there is out of power, is out of fuel. So getting down there's a struggle. Whereas here up in Alabama, stores are fully stocked. We can
start buying supplies.
Paying attention to all the Marathon Facebook groups that we're on. Kind of get an idea of what sort of things will be useful for us to bring down that initial emergency relief is unable to. We're weighing that. We're taking it day by day up here and just trying to decide what is the most rational way to handle it because once we get down there, we know it's going to be tough conditions.
Right.
Without, power. They're working on a lot of stuff down there too.
Yeah, we're in this strange limbo here. We got a wonderful place. We got friends nearby. We got friends here at this park. And actually, quite a few of us are just sitting here, renewing day by day, just trying to decide: do we stay 1 more day? Do we stay 2 more days? What should we buy? What should we get handled? And makes for interesting limbo. And at some point, we got to take action.
And we will. We will. Right now, it doesn't seem to be worthwhile. I mean, one option
today,
is,
no.
Not today. We can do a lot of provisioning up here that I think would be worthwhile. Definitely, like getting dehumidifiers and
probably
bleach
tarps
and peroxide and tarps and things like that we might be able to utilize with Why Not and or give to other people to help.
And because at least we have a boat above water, and so many of these people have boats that are underwater or upside down or wrapped around a tree, and for people who live, that's their only home. We've got a whole second house, so we do have that. I don't know, feelings.
And then the other thing we have to contend with is the tires on the bus
are due for replacement.
They're 6.5 years old, so putting all the miles on them, and there's a lot of nails and stuff, so that's probably a good thing that they're older, because we're going to be replacing them soon anyway.
True.
But we have to go very slow to protect them.
One of the things people are saying is bring patch kits, because tires are popping left and right down in the Keys right now because so much debris. Yeah, it's just hard to know what's the right path forward. So that's where we're sitting right now.
So someone said, the friends you're going to help, can't they go look at your boat and see the damage and let you know? So number one, they have not let residents back into Marathon. So the only people in Marathon right now are first responders and those who stayed behind. And there's very limited communication. So cell phone connectivity is
apparently in the last few hours, some cell phones started to come back online in Marathon, maybe just for text messages only. So tons of progress. I'm actually really impressed seeing the updates from the operations, the emergency management centers and everything else, that they've cleared the roads. They are getting power to the hospitals and the grocery stores. The grocery store in Key Largo is already reopened for a few hours a day. So infrastructure is starting to come back. In Key West, they're saying you can start flushing toilets again. The sewer system there is working. Not in Marathon, no, but all these things have to kick in for people to come there.
If we're trying, we got feelers out everywhere. Obviously, people who are returning, they have their priorities. Saving our boat is not other people's priorities.
And sending us a picture of our boat, or just so we can assess damage. Because right now, all we have are aerial photos.
So, we are putting the feelers out there is as people have time and availability. We would love to find somebody who is willing to go aboard our boat, get the generator started, get the air conditioner going at least. Let us know what the condition is.
Yeah. Check the bilges to see is there standing water? Is there any major leaks happening? And if so, get the bilge pumps going, because we're sure the batteries are probably pretty much dead by now. And
so, but obviously everyone down there is dealing with huge stuff, and we understand that. But we have been given an incredible gift that Wynot is still floating, and it would seem a shame to let that go by
not getting there quick enough to salvage any potential leaks or rotting or cracks or smashed windows that are raining inside. Or unfortunately, the weather's been good since Irma passed, but that's not guaranteed for long. So if there's big holes, and people, I've seen questions going by like, hey, do you have insurance? And we do need to start the insurance claims, because there's certainly going to be damage. Hopefully not covered.
Yeah,
but
so we actually have one of the top RV insurance agents in this park with us who evacuated here as well, and she very graciously looked over our policy and says we've got a good policy, and told us where the potential gotchas are with it, and there are very limited gotchas with it. So we feel very like we did well there, because we had limited options for getting insurance as a boating newbies for full coverage in Florida for hurricane season. So hopefully we did well with that. Rocket Radio Show asks, is there any status update on the Chinese junk? I am not sure which vessel that is, but if you join the Facebook group Boot Key Harbor Cruisers, there is a shared document of verified and unverified vessels that people are checking in on. I would check there.
Yeah, and a lot of them have been verified today, unfortunately verified in the negative sense, which is really heartbreaking. People are finding from the aerial view shots of their boats, and unfortunately a lot of them aren't where they belong and or are underwater, or just parts sticking up. So but that document is probably the best resource for the status of any particular boat.
Also look, if you know what it visually looks like, look at that new NOAA map that just came out today. So that's NOAA. They just released a fantastic aerial views,
shots,
and that's where we got the news that as of yesterday, Wynot was still afloat.
Yep.
You'll have to visually inspect around of where you thought it was and everything else like that. Brian asked, so no solar on the boat yet. So ironically, just before, the reason that we were in Marathon was we were working with SALT, which is one of the top marine solar experts, to install solar. And
the project, we were supposed to be basically meeting right about now to finalize the design and get all the parts ordered. So fortunately, it hadn't happened yet, because the solar panels probably would have been blown halfway to Texas or something. But yeah, we don't have that project done at all. It's now kind of on hold. Salt is dealing, I'm sure they're dealing with their own issues.
he stayed behind, and he has been able to get us some brief satellite messages out saying our boat, he visually inspected our boat.
Your boat looks good. So that's
all we know.
We got 3 words from him, and we've seen him post an update on his boat. One of his boats sunk, one of his boats survived of his boats.
We're filling the mooring field. I believe only 60 boats have stayed on their mooring balls out of 216. And so we're feeling like...
and we were trying to move to a mooring ball because we were told that's the safest place to be. So we feel very lucky that we didn't get to the safer place.
So yeah, lots of things to figure out in the coming days. We've got a long journey ahead of us to return to the Keys. Someone just asked where was the boat. It's in Marathon, basically.
Ground zero.
Ground zero for where Irma struck. Yeah, we're holding up though. It's been really good to come here to Summerdale, to the Escapees Park. We have a lot of friends here. It's been really good to be with people who are going through their own evacuations. And you know, laughter is really good for the soul. Sleep has been really good because we didn't sleep much last week.
Yeah, we did. We've finally been catching up on sleep, which is good. And catching up on drinking wine, which has been good too. So yeah, today got to go restock all that.
Let's see if there's any other questions. Wow, it's a Wednesday afternoon, and 176 people joining us.
I saw one question: if the cell tower goes back up, will our webcam start working again?
We anticipate the house batteries are out at this point.
Yeah. So once the generator started theoretically, and assuming there wasn't everything's still upright inside and didn't get rained on or something like that, theoretically the router should reboot and the webcam should reboot and we might be able to get a glimpse inside. But the batteries are certainly not still going, so it needs to be recharged.
Yep. Yeah, we'd really love to find someone who can go aboard the boat. We left things in such a state that we would be able to walk someone through getting the generator on and getting one air conditioner on without even having to go into the engine compartment. So, you know, we tried to pre-think some of that because the two, we started this video off, the 2 likely scenarios that we envisioned post-storm was, number 1, it was going to just be a near miss and have minimal impact, or it's going to be full impact as predicted and we would have nothing to return to.
And now we've got full impact, but our boat seems to have survived miraculously, so now we've got to deal with recovery and getting the boat put back together. Somebody's sneaking up behind us.
He's going to photobomb. Hey, come on in, Jim.
This is another evacuee here. Jim from Geeks on Tour.
Geeks on Tour.
Hey,
Chris
kids.
and Jim are here with us. It's been wonderful having you guys here.
Oh, man. I wish it were under better circumstances.
We were actually hoping to get together with them in Fort Lauderdale sometime in this next month or two, and we end up meeting him in Alabama. So, hey, you never know when you'll run into your nomadic friends.
Yeah. On with it.
Let's see. Somebody asked which... Oh, Tess Recco. What Rush concert was this shirt from? This is Tess Recco.
Oh, that's the most important question of all.
Hey,
you
know. Because we're back on the bus, I got my big stack of T-shirts here, which I didn't have on the boat, and it's just working through them. Somebody says, "Who's that good-looking guy?"
We had fans all over.
Yeah.
You can catch their channel. They are Geeks on Tour, and they do a weekly show teaching you what to do, what buttons do on your smartphone. Which we watched the Apple thing yesterday.
And there's
just
no more
buttons, so they have to change their show.
Yes, their show is "What Does This Button Do?" And well, they're kind of hosed now. Yeah, fun.
So yeah, there's a report from Catherine. They're in Central Florida, no power back yet. They're living in their RV instead of their house as a result. So yeah, people ask, is there options for parking the bus closer? And there probably are, but everywhere in Florida is dealing with damage and things like that, and we don't want to be in a position to people. We have a safe place here. It's just far away. And we also have access to fully stocked stores and fully stocked fuel stations here. So it seems like if we're going to provision up here with dehumidifiers and gloves and hatchets and cleaning supplies and things like that.
Bolt cutters.
We need to obtain new lines for the boat. If she's really floating, the remaining lines that we could see in the satellite imagery is we need to get new lines on it.
Yeah, certainly we lost several lines and/or cleats. Snapped in the storm because we could tell the angle the boat's at would have been impossible with the ropes we had left behind. So some stuff ripped off, and we need to replace it. And I'm sure even the ropes that did survive are probably in pretty bad shape, just from chafing. So yeah, new lines all across the board.
Yep. So
gotta probably learn how to patch fiberglass.
Yes, more than likely there's some cracks in the upper hull. We feel pretty good that the underwater hull is intact because we have 2 confirmed reports over the span of 48 hours that she's still afloat. So
yes,
and it's a good thing.
And then we don't know, our dinghy looks like it might have been smashed against the dock because just basically the angle the boat's at in the aerial shots. So we're not sure whether our dinghy is going to be salvageable, which is a real shame because it was brand new. But
that was covered by insurance.
Yeah,
too?
yeah, it will be covered, but it's still and hopefully the engine, we stashed the engine away, so hopefully the engine is in good shape, and maybe the dinghy is patchable, or maybe it just bounced off the sides and it's not too bad of a shape. But all these things we would kill right now just for a ground level photo, so we can at least have a sense of, are the windows smashed in or not on the boat? Is the dinghy torn to shreds or not? You know, the aerial photos give us a tease, but we can't get any of that information that a ground level shot would give us. And yes, the boat did have an automatic bilge pumps, but it had 3 of them, and if they were running, if there was a lot of flooding or a lot of waves crashing over into the cockpit or something, and there's a chance that the batteries might have been run out on them, and they were on a separate battery from the camera system. But we're expecting our boat is desperately in need of a charge and or depumping out right now.
Let's see. Someone recommended that you rent a car, go to the boat, and leave me behind here.
We're too much of a team for that.
No,
yeah.
you don't understand us if you are even realistically suggesting that.
Yep. And actually, we have plenty of cars
we
here.
We have 2 cars. Kind of silly. In fact, the getaway truck is the marina manager's truck that he loaned us to get out of here, and it needs to be returned. So if we were going to take one vehicle down, it would be the truck to get there. But we're only willing to do that if we have reasonable
access to get across into the Keys.
Yeah, number one, we can't get down there.
Right.
The marathon is closed.
Yep.
To residents. So he would need lodging on the way, or we would need lodging on the way if we did that. And we're still the fuel concern. None of our vehicles have the range to get from here to there with a full tank.
Yes.
So we would need to stock up on jerry cans and carry fuel in and stuff like that.
Yep. Or just wait for the fuel trucks to restock the fuel stations, which is happening slowly. Somebody asked if we're ham radio operators. We both have our ham licenses. We don't have any ham gear. So yeah, that's not particularly useful at the moment. And actually, we haven't been hearing that there's been a lot of happening on the ham side of things. But I hopefully the hams are doing a good job of connecting people. But I keep seeing in the Facebook group, say, is anybody a ham? Can you get a signal, get a message, get something in? And we're not hearing that a lot of communication is happening that way.
There are
satellite phones seem to be the most useful thing.
Satellite phones seem to be being utilized a lot there, as well as the app Zello.
Well, that's not being used in Marathon yet.
So hopefully we heard that cell phones have come back up in the Marathon area and throughout the Keys, and they're coming up today. So hopefully that will be able to get a lot more communication coming out, because those that were getting communication out were having to drive up to Isle Morada, where the last cell tower was up, where the last trunk was with cell phone access, and with no fuel, that was
people were rationing their trips out, and I understand because they're under stress and they're just trying to like throw up 1 or 2 photos or something, but sometimes people would post photos without a description of what the photo is, and sometimes cause more questions than they'd answer. But yeah, the people on the Facebook groups who aren't in Marathon are slowly piecing together what's happened as more and more photos and verbal reports come out. And as the infrastructure comes together, they'll be opening it up, and soon, hopefully, they'll actually open the gates. The marina manager's, I guess, assistant manager's right-hand man is waiting at in Homestead and is checking every day for if they can get in, because he needs to be the first person there to just try to
start assessing the damage of bird eyes. And he knows our boat, and
And we see also from the satellite view or the aerial shots, there's somebody is at Burdines. They've docked another boat that wasn't there before the hurricane, and there was a van there. So somebody's doing something there.
Or was yesterday.
Yes, or was yesterday when the aerial shots went by. So yeah.
So that's our update. We're probably just gonna take it day by day up here. It's no air conditioning weather up here, so
Yeah, it's
there's
nice.
That is not going to be the case once we get down to Marathon. There will be no air conditioning, but it won't be the weather for it.
Yep. So I don't know whether we'll start heading south tomorrow, the next day, the day after that.
But yeah, from here we're probably gonna go find a local Home Depot and or Walmart. Stores are fully stocked up here, and some initial supplies to take down with us. And thinking, of course, of extras that we can bring to contribute to others. We're already in touch with several relief organizations down there so that we can volunteer once we're there and help out with the community. A lot of people have the initial reports, at least from the Marathon area, is the houses down there don't look to be as bad as originally projected.
Yes.
Once they're getting the trees cleared, it's just minimal damage.
Yeah, the building code for the built houses is apparently really good. The mobile homes, which there's a lot of them down there, though, apparently had, some of them just swept out into the water, and so there's a lot of mobile home serious damage. But the built houses seem to be just get the water out of your first level and clean up the mess, which is good.
Joe suggests, meantime, dinner at Big Daddy's. I think that's the plan tonight, Joe.
Yeah, dinner at Big Daddy's. I think there might be a good group of us going there, and that place was fabulous. So
yes, it was. Yes, Joe, the computer guy, you see him in there. He's here locally with us, and it's been fabulous getting to know a long time fan and becoming friends. So evacuations bring people together,
Yes.
and that's a beauty of this. That is definitely a blessing of this. So.
okay.
Oh, I love that comment. Thank you, Discover an American. You've shown so many how to be pillars of strength in such trying times. What a way to be an inspiration. Wasn't our intention, but but we decided to share the story and share it because it's part processing for us.
And really, we like to share our process. And the biggest lesson that I think has been reinforced for us in this is just how invaluable it is to keep your options open. And that's kind of what we did every step of the evacuation. Is we at first we had a room reserved in Marathon if we had just a bit tropical storm. Then we had a room in Homestead. Then we had ways to evacuate further and further up the coast. And I feel so bad for the people who decided to stick it out on their boats, because you're backing yourself into a dead end. Instead of keeping your options open, you're committed, and if it goes bad, you're stuck. And
we have a helicopter going over, so apologize if the sound overwhelms us. We'll take a break here.
Hi, helicopter.
Wow.
Oh, two helicopters.
Squadron?
This could be are they coastal helicopters?
Oh, wow, right there. Guns out and everything.
Oh, whoa, they're military gunships. And another one. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, we've got a whole squadron of military helicopters flying over us right now. Okay, hopefully they're going to Florida for relief. I guess they've got 2 aircraft carriers now off the Keys, the amphibious vehicles, and apparently they've been bringing in supplies. The C-130s have been landing nonstop at the Marathon Airport and at Key West. So the supplies are flowing. Yeah.
Well, it's a little too early in the day.
Yeah, we decided that since we got maybe this group dinner happening and we wanted so nice outside, we'll do the live thing now while it was on our mind. And another helicopter.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. I think it's the 5th one. Okay, there's a lot of helicopters heading sort of east, yeah. Towards Pensacola anyway.
Yes. We heard from our friends Forrest and Mary. those of you who've been following for a long time have probably seen them in our posts in the past. They are volunteers with the Doves, which is a division of the Escapees RV Club that coordinates with the American Red Cross, and we just heard they have been deployed to Tallahassee for the next few weeks to help out with relief efforts there. So
yeah, there's the Red Cross is moving in. The Doves are fabulous, and yeah, a lot of escapees are going to be moving in, volunteering in that regard.
Alrighty. Don't know that there's much more to say right now. I have a lot of future content posts, like going over things we might have done differently, but I think we made the best choices we could.
Yeah, based on the current information we had at any given time. So we have the Survivors Guild, and we have we know like every boat that at Legacy Harbor Marina survived. So if we had
been able to get up there, back to
decided to bail for that, it was hit or miss whether that would have been a smart move. In hindsight, they didn't get to their overflow point.
But they didn't give us a call back that they had a slip ready until basically we were pulling out of Marathon.
Yes. So we would have had to untie the boat,
and it would have delayed us another day, and then we would still be left with how do we get to the bus, because the bus was also in the path.
Right. And so yeah, we made our smartest choice at the time, and hopefully somehow miraculously, despite having the eye wall go right over our poor little boat, it seems to still be there. That Bayliner is sure built well and lucky. And
yeah, if Why Not really does survive this, this will be her second direct Cat 4 hit, because the previous owner had her in Punta Gorda in 2004 when Charlie hit. So
and came through unscathed with just a cracked window that time, he said, and then because there was no power in Punta Gorda for weeks, they lived aboard Why Not and actually provided power and resources to their neighbors using the boat. Then that was their hurricane escape vehicle. So it's 2 hurricanes. Wow, that's pretty impressive for a small boat that is not built for heavy oceans or anything. Seeing so many other big, beautiful boats upside down and sunk is just heartbreaking.
It is. Seeing all the NOAA just brought out the satellite imagery this morning that covered Marathon, and just seeing how many people and seeing that mooring field was
it's ripped apart, and boats are piled up in areas and basically twisted chunks, and I just sure hope there weren't many people on any of those boats. I don't think the recovery operations have fully gotten into them yet, which is I really worry, because that one we heard, that one person trying to evacuate in the middle of the storm when his boat was sinking. Nobody's yet been able to report what happened to him and if his boat's been found. So at least one person we know was out there, and who knows how many others. And there's still a lot of missing people in Marathon, and our thoughts and prayers and just pacing and worry about some of them.
And it's there's a very strong, tight-knit community in the cruising community in Marathon.
And we had barely met any of them. We were just starting to get to know a few people.
We had just gotten there, so we hadn't really had time to start making local connections. So our networking there it's kind of hard for the cruisers to feel sorry for us, the cruisers just coming through.
Yeah. Whereas some of these people have been on boats there for years and years.
They know each other. They've been through things. They've helped each other with projects. They have a lot of built-up karma with each other. So we're kind of outsiders in this community, which makes it a little more difficult for us to get resources. People are asking, do we know people at the marina? And yes, the marina manager is a blog follower of ours.
Yeah, he's become a dear friend.
He is out of the area. Everyone was evacuated. Remember, it was mandatory evacuation, and they have not allowed anyone back into Marathon yet. So there are limited people in the area to do anything, and those that are there are first responders and have far more important things to do than go open the windows on our bus.
It seems like the people who are still in Marathon were the people who stayed behind because they were part of the infrastructure and they were there to help bring the town back, or the people who were just too obstinate to pay attention to an evacuation order, and those aren't the type of people who are going to be necessarily the most useful for getting information out. All the people who evacuated are still blocked out unless they are fire or electrical or something like that.
So anyway, if you happen, as you're like watching footage from the Keys or anything like that, if you happen to come across images of
Burdines Marina,
please do pass them to us. We are trying to keep our eyes out, of course, and we probably might already have found them, but more eyes on this, the better for us. getting information. We definitely don't want to be a burden to anybody by, putting out cries for help, because
Other people need it more.
Other people need it much more than us, but we certainly are anxious to get information on Why Not, so we can make sure that she can continue her journey for whatever reason she was spared so far. So I think it's time for us to go find some lunch.
Oh yeah, we could go lunch and shopping. That sounds good.
Yes, we should.
Okay, so we are off. Any final questions?
Just an unrelated question. We're not really in a mode to answer general questions right now, but so we're going to sign off. We will update again when we can.
When we have a plan in place of heading south, we'll probably certainly do an update from the road back, and at some point we'll do an update from Why Not again.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully. So thank you guys all. It's actually been really nice to get all the support. I
really feel that Why Not survived so far, in part from the positivity. Positive energy is a powerful thing, and we cannot thank you all enough for continuing to put it out there for us and for Why Not, and for all the people of the Keys and Florida and everyone impacted. I'm a believer in positive energy, and I really, really appreciate yours. So thank you for being along with this journey with us.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.